What's going on? Today we're talking about the tattooers who have inspired me the most for the longest. These dudes have been tattooing a long time and have inspired not only my style, but the way I view tattooing. So let's jump into it. Okay, a lot of you will be familiar with this first person. His name's Dan Santoro, one of the most inspiring tattooers, not only because his tattoos are just incredible, interesting, fun to look at, but also because when I was becoming a young tatter, 11, 12, 13 years ago, a Vice documentary came out about him and it just hit everything.
I don't know.
Oh, I love that frog. What do you want? Fucking like an American flag rip out? Jesus Christ. Everything I do is silly.
What does it say, though?
It says that you like fucking bluegrass, you don't mind amphibians, and you definitely get high.
And since then, it's obviously I've been a huge fan of him. And not that that video was the first time I ever heard of him, but it just had such a huge impact on me and the way I tattoo and the way I see tattooing that I have just remained a huge fan of him for so long. So let's look at this first tattoo. Now, Dan Santoro has kind of made a transition out of American traditional and into Japanese for a lot of reasons. One, Japanese tattooing and American traditional have a lot of the same tendencies. You have bold outlines, strong color, and imagery that is just powerful. That's what you're getting with the samurai tattoo, headless samurai with flames around it, just bitchin' and solid. Now, a lot of you guys will look at this and be like, it's not a perfect tattoo. And fuck no, it's not. One of the most interesting things about this tattoo is how loose it is. That is something that gets said about Dan Santoro's style, and actually kind of this whole list of my favorite tattooers. Very loose, free. Sometimes they look clunky, sometimes the images look goofy, but that's perfect. That's exactly what we're going for. I've always been a huge fan of folk art, and this represents that really well. Look at that shrimp. Ain't nothing to talk about, just solid, clean tattooing. Now this monkey with the rabbit, first off, the color choices here are phenomenal. To put those two different, that green and that blue right next to each other with that pink surrounding in the scarf, you're just blown away by that color pattern. And it shows you sometimes simple is just powerful, and that's what I like in a tattoo. And then we got some of this more American traditional style, alligator, snake. What I love about this tattoo and this style of tattooing is just how bold and straightforward it is. There's no bullshit. Just a solid, clean tattoo, and you could pick up all these different elements almost immediately. This guy walks into a room shirtless, you're gonna see that tattoo and you're gonna notice all the different little things happening here. And then we're back to this Japanese American traditional style, this Kintaro, very folky, guys. And that's what I like about it. That's what I love about this style of tattooing. Now, on to the next is Greg Christian.
At this point in my career, I've been tattooing for 28 years, and I've been pretty obsessed with tattooing and working, and that's all I want to do.
Greg Christian has influenced tattooing in so many different ways. I see a lot of tattoos happening all the time on Instagram, just like all of you else. And I can almost pinpoint that they're stealing some sort of element of Greg Christian's a lot of the time. At least in my favorite tattooers. I'm like, oh, I definitely see the influence there. Which is what makes him so powerful to me, is that the influence he's had on tattooing without maybe being the most flashy. Maybe a lot of you guys don't know it, but you'll see his tattoo style kind of popping off in different places. Now, you could trace that back even further. It's not like he's the first person to ever do these weird, wild, morphy types of tattoos, but in today's age, I see him influencing the most. And he's been doing this type of stuff for a long time. I've actually seen him tattoo at a convention once. It was amazing. He did my mentor's hand, and I was just like, fuck, flawless ass tattooing. And I love how he just puts in a tattoo. Just solid, wild, and fun. Look at this pufferfish. Now, I like this pufferfish not only because it's pufferfish, but he did this weird background, which is this space look, and I've definitely stolen that a few times and put it in my own tattoos. And I just think it's such a unique way to throw in weird imagery, and it fills up the spot so well, and it's just wild. I think a lot of you guys will notice that when it comes to American traditional, for myself, I really like when people are on the more artistic side of it. When they go a little bit crazy, they do some wild stuff. Instead of just doing a puffer fish and making it look like a solid traditional piece, he's like, fuck it, let's throw space around it. Why? Don't fucking know. Just do it. And I really like that. As long as the elements and the tattoo is done well, which this one clearly is. It's got solid lines, strong black, strong color. You can do do weird shit. You could be artsy-fartsy all day long, but just do it within the confines of what tattooing is. And I think that that is a good example of it. Again, we have these weird panther morph things. This one might be a cheetah because it's got some spots. But this face, this element, this thing, whatever we're looking at, a panther morphing out of the flames of a bowl, I guess? I don't know. But what I do know is that I like it. And what I do know is when I look at it, I go, that's fucking cool. And it's strong. And there's something about it that just hits all the right things for me. And then we got this like Tibetan style skull that is coming out with water and a heart and just fucking weird shit. That's what I'm saying, guys. I like a weird tattoo. Just throw a whole bunch of shit in there and make it look like tattoo art. And that's what you're seeing here. Just throwing shit together. And again, a weird eye swooping in, filling up that gap so well. He's not getting too close to the other tattoos, but he's giving it enough space to breathe. You know, this is my guy. This is my favorite by far. I've never been tattooed by him. I will for sure be getting tattooed by him. And then we're gonna end it with this weird panther thing with dots and a crown of thorns. Why? Because why the fuck not? Okay, and then we got to talk about Chad Koeplinger, who actually worked with Greg Christian, the previous guy, at Tattoo Faction, I believe. But either way, Chad Koeplinger is heavily influenced by Greg Christian, and I think you could tell. But what makes Chad Koeplinger so interesting and so fun for me is not only is his tattoos wild, weird, executed well, all of those things, but also he's well known for being like the most traveled tattooer of all time.
It's weird, dude. Like, I'm happiest when I'm in a plane, and then the next day I'm in this other country, and then like 2 days later I'm in another one, and I'm just fucking going, you know?
Which is just something that's cool. Tattooing is the fucking best job for a whole lot of reasons, but one of the coolest things to me, at least when I was a really young tattooer, was the fact that you can go anywhere, do anything, go to shops, meet people, and tattoo all around the world. I've often heard it say that tattooing is the only trade that you could fit into a shoebox, and you know that that's pretty fucking true. Put all your machines, you can put everything you need in a box this big and travel the world, which to me was one of the things that like Chad Koeplinger really like exemplifies. You could find him now, I don't think he travels as much, at his own tattoo shop in Tennessee called Adventure Tattoo, I think. But yeah, let's talk about his tattoos. Look, if you told me, hey, I want a fucking horse wrapping into its own neck with a snake pattern in it, I'd be like, fuck no, what are we talking about? But then you see him do it and you're like, why the fuck isn't that been tattooed every single time forever? It just looks fucking good, dude. And it just shows you like the unique style of this guy and how he thinks about tattoos. Just because it's fucking weird doesn't mean he can't make it a rad tattoo. Look, again, this Panther factory thing on a chest, what the fuck am I looking at? What am I looking at? Look, here's another example of a zebra doing the same thing. Fucking wild. Like, if I had to draw this, I'd be like, I don't know where the fuck to start. And he just comes in and he crushes it. Not only that, but the color patterns he's using here, brilliant. Look at this samurai frog. Huge samurai frog on the chest. Who wouldn't want that? I would fucking blast over my chest tattoos with that because I just think it's so strong, it's so cool. Not only are those green choices like real fun and interesting, but the pink on the belly, dude. And I think that like some of you guys at home might be looking at the things that I get excited about and being like, I don't understand it. And what's interesting to me is that's good. That's okay. As a tattooer, I've seen so many fucking tattoos on the Instagram, in person, and the things that excite me are going to be different than what excites someone who are just getting into tattooing. And when I see this, I go, this is the type of tattooing that I want to do and the type of tattooing that I like seeing. Look at this fucking weird Jesus Christ, dude. Look, I think that this is the type of tattooing you see tattooers wanting. Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at. These aren't the type of tattoos that you're just gonna be like, oh, it's so clean or it's so perfect. Nah. It's just fucking cool, and most tattooers who look at this are gonna be like, I get it, I understand. And as clients, at home, I understand you might not think the same way, but I wanna take that home for you. This is the stuff that your tattooer, if they specialize in traditional tattoos, are gonna look at and be like, fuck, I love it. I love it. Chad Koeplinger, Dan Santoro, Greg Christian, my 3 all-time favorite tattooers that are still currently crushing it every single day. I hope you enjoyed this video. We're gonna be doing these occasionally, smashing them in between my reaction videos. So hit that like button, subscribe, do all the things you always do. I love you. See you in a few days.